So, what do you think about Gary Lineker? You may have heard about him, you may not have heard about him. He has been sacked from the BBC. He was a presenter of Match of the Day for 25 years, which is an incredibly long time. What do you think about him being sacked from the BBC? I personally was shocked, especially the way it happened, and I think it's something that people shouldn't forget because the way the situation was handled, I don't think it reflected well on the BBC. So, for those that don't know, Gary Lineker presented Match of the Day. Prior to this, he was a England footballer, a striker, a quite good striker. He played for various teams. He played for Barcelona. He didn't receive yellow cards when he played, so he was seen to be someone that was hardworking, a prolific goal scorer, and generally a nice person. There wasn't any controversy about him. So when he started the job working for the BBC, presenting Match of the Day, it seemed like a good fit because essentially he was squeaky clean, he had a good persona, and he actually did quite a good job of presenting. And for me growing up, he's been part of my life when it comes to watching things like the World Cup or the Euros, and he's just been the face of football. And I don't think it's about him being replaced and there being someone new that won't be as good. I just think that he actually was really good at his job. So his dismissal or letting go was quite disappointing. Apparently, he was going to leave next year anyway after he finished the World Cup. But that's been cut short. And I don't think I think he would mind, but I say that he wouldn't mind as much because he has quite a popular podcast. He presents This Is Football, and he has presenters from Match of the Day with him on his podcast. So he's a lot more free to talk about what he wants to talk about. So it gives him license to be open and control his destiny, really. So I also felt that the BBC almost shot themselves in the foot when they actually showed his montage. And his montage over the years showed him to be a really likable person, an everyday person, someone that just speaks out about things that he considered to be wrong. If he makes a mistake, he admits that he made a mistake. And the BBC just seemed to be like the people that were definitely in the wrong when it came to not considering situations. So regardless of someone's political views, I think that there obviously there's a line when it comes to being professional and trying to keep your work and your private life or your opinion separate. And you often have a grey line with certain things. I think there's some things that if you cross those certain lines, you can immediately be cancelled. And we have a culture of that. And sometimes that's correct because things that people thought 20, 30 years ago still morally were wrong, but they were able to get away with it because it was seen to be normal. But if we dig deeper into morality and humanity, then you can still kind of figure it out with common sense that certain things are wrong. So yeah, going back to what he represented. So he represented a person that was likable, and he comes across as just being an everyday person, so without an agenda. So I think it is a shame the way that it happened. What do you think about this? I think that it's tarnished the BBC and their credibility personally. And, you have to question a lot of things. I think it would be quite ironic if he goes to ITV or Sky or another broadcaster. It would almost be a smack in the face, because he carries such a loyal fan base from presenting for 25 years and being a good presenter. So it's interesting that it's happened right in front of our eyes. And there have been cases before of high celebrities, even working for the BBC, that have crossed the line, but they haven't been fired. So it's interesting when certain things are able to trigger a certain reaction very quickly. And I think it's a shame. I think that, we live in a world where there's a line between oversharing and expressing yourself on social media and then trying to cut yourself off from it. But just from the point of view that, just in terms of nostalgia as well, because you're so used to seeing a certain person, a certain celebrity, and they almost become part of your life. And next year would have been his swan song, and his ability just to sign off in style, which I thought he still did anyway. But for it to be cut short, I guess it's like a bit of laying down the gauntlet, laying down the law that you are unable to cross the line. And are we becoming a world where people are just robots, and it's under the guise of reporting things in a fair way, of having democracy, but it's not really. It's just certain people's democracy and certain people's point of view. And we do know that is the case because everyone has their own agenda. So to live in a world where things are more transparent and we are able to analyze and see proof. But unfortunately, this is what can happen if you try to express your opinions. So I think that he's been quite smart in building up his podcast and his podcast empire and branding. And this way he gets to have freedom by just pursuing his own passions and having his own guests and his own show. So it just goes to show you that in the world of social media and the internet, it can be a good thing. It can be a good thing if you present yourself in a genuine way. You can build a loyal following and be able to inspire people and share your opinions. So let me know, what do you think? Was the BBC correct to let him go? Should they have just accepted his apology and kept him and then let him go gracefully next year?